Recording in progress.
כרגע בשידור. בסיום נתקו את הקו.
שלום עליכם מיד. שלום עליכם.
הצלחה. We are here today. Parshas B'Shalach. As B'Shalach, we're going to a little bit of history. Klaus goes out of Mitzrayim to 210 years. The Rebbe tells them after 3 days that they went out, V'yeshiva v'yachne lepnei v'yachiros. She decides we're going back, so we're going back.
Getting the message of the shiur.
Yeah.
I think getting the message of the shiur.
That means suddenly there's a change in plan. The 210 years. This must be planned out. After 3 days you go back. Whatever he says, we're doing. Well, if you take a look at the end of the plan, it says, start going, we're going, with times from one side and water on the other side, the desert. So what was behind all of this? And then you have to make a Kriyas Yamsuf anyway, so what's this whole, you have a lot of things in life, no? Why did you do that to me? What's the guns? Let me understand what's behind this.
Start, finish.
These days you would make a whole make a whole meeting. Who messed it up? Who didn't figure it out as you're supposed to? As we go along, the whole concept of we find the Torah. It says in Mishle, we find l'chol zman va'ais l'chol chayfetz mitach hashamayim. Sounds like a extra la'ais zman chayfetz l'kol. What's Shlomo Melech telling us here in Koheles? And he goes out and starts 24 types of times that a person has. Eis laledes, eis lumes, eis levnot, eis laros. Sometimes you build, sometimes. But Shlomo Melech reveals to us, Bush used to talk a lot about connecting to the present. We call it the Hoiva. Human being is not the past and not the future. all he is being right now, as we're talking about the last few weeks, to be or to do. If you're being, then you're living. If you're not being, you might be there. Er lebt, aber es ist nicht gelebt. He's living. And they say that some people by the age of 30, they're dead already, just waiting to get buried by the age of 70. That means to do leben is to gelebt. In order a person should be living, not only alive, but should be living, he has to be connected to himself, connected to his core, which is called the neshama. Because the neshama, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, is actually something lively. We find last week in the parasha, Claudius went out of Mitzrayim. Kodesh Baruch Hu told them, "Hachodesh hazeh lochem rosh chodoshim." That's exactly what's missing us right now. So important before you started telling us how to get out of Mitzrayim. So you start telling us right away which month we'll have to do. Let's get out. Let's take care of it, and we'll talk about it and be the Meiser. But the whole concept of Geula, of going out of Mitzrayim, as we're talking last few weeks, a person doesn't know what the Galut is. So he doesn't know what the Geula is. And in order to know what the Geula is, we must know what the Galut is. So last week we were talking about how do you measure a person's worth. How does a person measure his self-importance, his self-worthness, which that actually gets us messed up usually, because as long as I feel that I'm worth, so I go ahead, but the minute I feel that something is wrong. So the two types of people, the people that measure their according to accomplishment, whatever they accomplish in life, that's the most of the world. And then there's also, you measure yourself actual existence, that you're existing, and you are, and you belong. Yid belongs to a chelik elokayim yamal. So that is something limitless and endless. And when we say oiz v'chedva b'mkoyme, the most strength is when we're able to connect our higher power. Chedva, simcha is actually, you learn from a small child at Bush to say that he's always happy. Because whatever he needs, he just says, what? And he gets it. So the child is always happy, always busy. And whenever he needs it, he asks for it and gets it. No two ways about it. So if a person sets all his worthwhile according to his accomplishment, then it's a little sticky, because sometimes he won't be accomplishing something, and then he gets his records messed up. But if a person's looking to connect, not only he's connected when things go, but even when things don't go, he might be even connected even more. When a person is in a meitzah, actually, that is, he has no other way to turn to, is only to his connection, to his highly power. That means that Shlomo HaMelech says, one of the things, sorry to call it messed up, but it's tzimtzum, that Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world. Before the creation of the world was everything Ein Sof. There was no difference in place, time, and people. Olam Shuna Nefesh. We were all in one place, we were all in one time, and we were all one person, Echad. After creation of the world, it looks like as if we're something separate. It looks like as today is not tomorrow, and tomorrow is not yesterday, and it is that way. It looks like that I'm not you, you're not me, and it is that way. And it looks like if I'm here, I'm not there, if I'm there, not here. Comes along the Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov says, no, it's all up here in the head. Where your head is, That's where you are. That means Shalom Aleichem Yeshua. Oh, Shalom Aleichem Ari. Shalom Aleichem Rebbe. A special guest. Sorry for starting on time. It also helps sometimes. Sit down, brings it to drink. Steve? It's so fucking toughness. I think I glaze lots of things. We're explaining, as long as the person doesn't know what the gulis is, it's a little hard to take him out of that galut. So in order to get to geula, you have to know where's the galut, how to get me out of that galut. So I must know what the galut is, what is the geula. So in the middle of explaining that when Bokher took us out of Mitzrayim, the first mitzvah was Achodesh Hazeh Lochem Lo Ish Kedushim, which sounds a little. You want to get us out? We'll talk about how to put out the calendar, but that's not my main problem here. But to understand what geula is, we have to know what the galut is. The galut actually started by the creation of the world. Because God created the world. And from day one, we were in a place of Ein Sof, we'll call it infinite, and suddenly we became a finite. So suddenly we became closed, like you say in English. Anyways, it's constricted. Thank you for coming. Constricted, and the constriction keeps on going. I'm sorry. We ain't getting, the master's getting worse, not the master's getting better. So the constriction is there. That is the creation of the world. So we said the creation of the world, there were three constrictions, we call it, in three categories. Olam, Shun, and Nefesh. Olam is place. Before the creation of worlds wasn't no here and there, it's all one. Until today we have the Evan Shasir, which is still the first place that Kodesh Baruch Hu created that we can get together in one place. We have Zman. Zman is time. Before that there was no today, yesterday, tomorrow. Kodesh Baruch Hu at the same moment is Hoyu, V'yeh. But the human being suddenly, Rusha called it Kama Hoyu. She has to be present, and the word present, by the time you say present, it's past. That means Hoyu Keheref Ein. And the third is people. People are separated. Before that, we're one. We're Haftarach Kemoich Ani Hashem. So Tanya and Perek Lamed Beis is explaining the more you're into oneness, the more you're into spirituality, the more you get together, the more you're into materialism, the more you're separated. So comes the Baal Shem Tov, and Baal Shem Tov says actually a person can be in Galut and not be in Galut, and be in Geula. A person can be Chitzonit, we'll call it, as if he's in Geula, he's in La La Land, but he's still in Galut, he got out of there. So it's actually a mind setting that a person is in, that if he's in a mind setting of spirituality, or not to say what type of spirituality, then he could be, it's already a geula, but the more you go into it, and you go into the Baal Shem Tov calls it bittul, the Purus calls it hachnua, so the more you see the actual, I heard a Moedike today, there are three types of people. There are people, myself for myself, myself for others, and myself for the world, for the whole community, we call it. That is actually the three types of people, which actually, that is a yid. A yid, we know a yid is arev yisur zeh lezeh. the Gemara says every time a person does something, if he does a positive thing, then he's mashpia on the whole world. Positive, he does has a shum usaveda, is machias asmes kalolim kafchoven. That means a person has a responsibility for every machshava, every dimmer, and every master that he does, not only for the world, but it's for his house, for his surroundings, and for himself. So the less a person feels his responsibility. So that's the lowest part. I do myself for myself. My father says in Yiddish, they say, ich bin anders von der ganzen Welt, I'm different in the whole world. But the ganze Welt tracht, they think about sich, and ich tracht für mich. It's actually the same thing. That means a person is always busy. Then it can be at home. If he's hungry, everybody should bow down. If he's angry, everybody should bow down. And we don't have to talk about how it looks like. But anyways, a person learns it the hard way. That's what we get married for. That he has to set up some type of relationship. He has to set up some kinds of rules, that he gives away something from his own. But again, the Busha called that ahavu. It is ahavu, but it's ahavu atliya b'dova. The first one, says the Baal Shem Tov, is not even ahavu, it's only tavu. It looks like ahavu, that I like myself. But ahavu, that you're not giving it to someone else, is tavu, it's not ahavu. Ahavu, that you're ready to give away from yourself to someone else. Then we have two types of ahavu. We have ahavu atliya b'dova, that we made a deal, and I'm giving you, and you're giving me, and it's 1 for 1, or sometimes I give more, whatever, but there's some signed heskim, the agreement. But the Yid has to come to Ahava, the Bunshleim, the Busha says, Shiva is coming to Ahava, she'enet liya b'dova. What is Ahava she'enet liya b'dova? A Yid is a Yid because he's part of the Bunshleim. And he's part of the Bunshleim. It's b'shvili nivru olam. Everyone has his own reason why he was born here. It's just like in a factory. Everyone has to do his part, otherwise I don't want my near surroundings, so the whole world, that is a Yid. So that actually the that means the whole actually the Geila can be in the same spot, but when you're in a Hava Tliba, you're connected to your whole space, and you brought in your part in the creation that you have to bring in. That's the story of the Rebbe Mandela Vitebsk said that someone came up, there's Mashiach around. There's Mashiach around, and they came to ask Mandela Vitebsk, is Mashiach really here? He went to the window, put his nose out, and sniffing, says, I don't feel Mashiach. So the tzaddikim used to say, why did he go to the window? He was able to do it in his house, but in his place was already Mashiach. He just wanted to know if it's only the Mashiach HaKluti, as we call it, or it's already the Mashiach HaKluti, if everyone did his task. And we call that the Pshim B'Yechui. All the tzaddikim that we're using today, their techniques, they brought down the Mashiach, that is called Nafshi Geula. But we have to, every one of us has to finish up his task, and that's what we're waiting for me and for you, for everybody. So every time a person is connected, which is called these days mindfulness, to be, they call it Kan Nachshav, that is actually the own Ge'ile Prutis, which brings a Ge'ile Klulis. When everyone has his own Ge'ile, then he comes a Prutis. So we're talking about the last few weeks, that how do you do that? Every time you have a sensation, you have to go into the meal, you have to go into a quietness, you have to go into a hamting, and wait till it works out, and then you get your clearness, but not do actions right on the spot that we're talking about last few weeks.
What do you do during that waiting?
What do you do during that waiting? The Buddha calls that waiting itself is tefillah. There is tefillah talking, and there is tefillah connecting. Connecting is something you have to go through a toiv avoy in order to connect. Now, the more the toiv avoy is scary, the more you get broken. But the more you believe in that your tachlis here is not, we started saying before, the two types of people of production and people of being.
Mm-hmm.
The more you are being, so you know this, you know, the more it's scary, the more you're going to be connecting to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in production mode, so then the more it's scary, the more you're just gonna bog off.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well. Why should I work all the way through and then I have a failure? Might as well. Let's stop right here. But if a person knows that it's a connection project here, so the more I'm connecting, the more it might be more scary, but that helps me actually connect. That's what we're talking about. So what we're trying to explain now is the Kehelis. We start off with Pusik in Kehelis. Pusik in Kehelis says, Eis, Lachol Zman, everything has time, has a time when it happens. 24 times that the Kehelis sets out. But he adds on, Eis Lachol Chefetz. What is that? We said already, Lachol Zman, everything has a time limit. So what is Eis Lachol Chefetz? So comes the Maral, and the Maral, if you guys got to, comes the Maral, and the Maral explains that Zman is actually something that cuts off the line. That means every Zman has a separate unit, we'll call it. Every second has a separate unit. So the units are never together. So one of the things that Bokher made by the creation, thus he made us separate entities, in separate places, separate human beings, the separate times. That means today is not yesterday, yesterday is not today, here. But in the source, it's still all one. So we have two times actually. We have a time of here, which is only the Hoiva. We have a time. We have a Zman. Here it's called Zman, and in Shemaim it's not called Zman. It's Zman called Eis. It's you're on the right time wherever you're going to be there. That means that when a person connects himself, there won't be any difference of time. So you're on the right time wherever you come. That's actually for the Rebbe. So whenever you're coming on time, you never come late. But the question is why you're doing it. If you're doing it to connect to yourself, or you're doing it because you're a wise guy. That means it's actually, you can do the same thing as a wise guy, so you're not coming on time. You can do the same thing as connecting to yourself. You weren't able to come. But you were, there's a word from the Kotzke. The Kotzke, they started off the Chassidus, they weren't so punctual. Today they're more punctual than everybody. But they once asked the Kotzke, the Shi'urim. So the Shi'urim says, just there's a halucha in Masechta Metzia, if you take the worker to take down the crops, and in 3/4 of the day he's busy to sharpen his knife, and then 1/4 of the day he's working. You have to pay him for a whole day because he prepared himself to the work. So the question is, what are you here for? If you're here for producing, then sorry, 8 o'clock, you don't come at 5:08, you ain't here anymore. If a person's here to connect, there is no 8 o'clock connection. You start off the connection. The slow motions of the connection and the fast motion connection, but not everyone has the same connection. We spoke about it last week. There's something called HSP, highly sensitive people. They can't connect so fast. They first have to sort out themselves till they get into into moving. It take an hour or two. I don't know about you, but I know about me. So by the time you get moving, it's half a day gone through. But the question is, what is your goal? If your goal is production, if your goal is, but everyone has his personal goal here. That means Kashem Shepatzifeim Shainos, just like everybody's face is different. Everyone has, they always say Shainos. They say means knowledge, but they say also means connection. Not everybody has this connection. You're an electrician, so you know there's connections that go faster. If it's called electricity, if it's called Wi-Fi, it's called. It's just the question is how much you're ready to pay for. That's called it. The more you're ready to pay for, you'll have a faster connection. Now, I'm paying here is called actually that when a person wants to be busy in production, then the production, there are times that's called zman. You miss the time, you miss the time. Chayfetz is called rutzen, willing. We know battle we want a lot of things. It's one of the first things that Shlomo picked up by me was battle. What does that mean? In this world, the rutzen Hashem is limitless, is boundless, is beyond time. But the mitzias that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made in this world is yes bounded. You have to be on time, you have to be in the place, you have to be with the people. That means somewhere, when I want something which right now is not here, I want to be with people, I want to be in a certain place, at a certain time, so we clash. So actually that is the time when we can connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but not to the physical creation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, but I'm ready to give up my roots, my chayfetz, my wanting, to the wanting of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Actually, the roots of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is something endless, Ein Sof. It doesn't change. Mine is also endless, but it's not lemais. It's not. It just can't be there. But when this clashes, you might as well give hachnu, as we call surrender to the Metzias. You have to be there on time, and whatever you have to do, you try to do it. So then you're connected your rootzen to the roots of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then you get koiches, not koiches from the materialism, not koiches from the accomplishment, from your bittul, from your achnua. When you connect to the B'nai, this actually connection, you connect right now to a higher place, so you can be there in this place and not be there. You can be in this time and not be there actually, and you can meet people which you didn't meet them, but I can say, and I've seen such people, I'm sorry to tell you, but that they can be in places, and they weren't actually there in places. They spoke to people, they never saw these people, and must have read a lot of Sapir Tzadikim about this, and that is actually, but it's true, but it's so true in questions who you're talking about. That means the people that say they're there already, but they're not there. And the people that are not there and are there, that's actually the whole concept of Ge'il and Geula. I mean, when Claudius came to Mitzrayim, I might to mix up a little bit, but we'll explain it a little better. I have 3 stories. Usually stories goes better. I have 3 stories that actually will tonight is the Yotzat from the Sfasemis. Sfasemis from Ger, and that's, by the way, my birthday. I'm still a baby. It's okay. My father called me the baby. But Sfasemis had a granddaughter. He called in his granddaughter and told her the button fell off and take it to Bobby. She should sew on the button and put it back. And she was very happy to do that. But she just finished a lesson how to sew by herself. So she decided to sit down with the Zaydas back and sewed it on and put it back really strong, and comes into the Zayd and brings the back and takes a look. That's very nice. But Bobby didn't make that. She says, well, it's wrong. I didn't do it good. I made it just fine. But when Bobby would have made it, she would have checked the hanger is there. She would have checked the שידורים. The lining is okay. The hem is okay. So that's story number one. Story number two. That's a story I heard 40 years ago, and it's hitting in my head all the time. Just till I learned this Koheles, this moral we're talking about, Eis l'chol zman and Eis l'chol chayfetz. That the Brisker was baking matzahs in the Shalim, and the matzah bakery was under the Kalina shul. They call it in Bet Yisrael. It's still there till today. And Brisker had a lot of chimnes by baking matzahs. So he went up, he was very tired, there was a shtickle of sukkah, so he went up to the shul there and sit a little bit. And the shul there was a Zalman Brizel, one of the big chassidim. So he saw the Brisker come in, so he wanted to tell you a chassidish story. No, he's ready to hear a chassidish story. So he says that the Baditcha Varuf also had a lot of chimnes when it came to baking matzahs. And it was, putting on the menorah was nothing against the matzahs and burning the matzahs. And after he was finished the whole work, he took the matzahs and going home. He comes out of the bakery and he sees a Yid standing there also with matzahs and crying. So he asked the Yid, "What are you crying?" I see how the Rebbe is so serious. The Rebbe has a lot of luchas and chimnes. But chumens, I don't know how to do. I did whatever we're supposed to do. So I'm a spell. I'm diving to a bunch of them because Bokher should help me. It should be matzahs shouldn't be chumens and everything. But Ditcher was so excited about it. I want to change with you my matzahs. Ditcher gave me his matzahs, and the Yid got that matzahs from the Baditcher. This was Zalman Brizel telling the story of son of the Brisker listens and he says, "Well, that Eid was sicher good mispal because you got the matzahs from the Baditcher. The Baditcher kosher matzahs or not, I don't know." And that's a typical literature matzah. Yeah? Okay, good. But it bothers me all the years, actually. I have a little bit of literature in me. So how does it really work out? How do you say it in it? Al-Tataina. Where was the Baditcher looking? What's happening here? The third story goes that there was a Rebbe before the war called the Baale Koznitzer. Very into Koznitz, you heard that time?
The Wilde Koznitzer.
Okay, I don't want to say Wilde Koznitzer. I'm not speaking here to English people, so I don't know. Wild gets you a little bit nervous when talking about wild people. And it was a Baale Koznitzer. The Baale Koznitzer, he comes into him and asks him, "Rebbe, my children," so he gave him an answer. But what will be with the panus? The more he was giving him advice, the more the problems were coming out. And he thought, he ain't going to finish with this person. So Baal Koznitzer decided, I'll ask him a question. What do you do on the first day of Sikkis? You're going to shul. In one hand, you're holding the liliv. In one hand, you're holding your essig. On the one arm, you're holding your talis. On the one arm, you're holding the marza. And you're going to shul, and suddenly a wind comes and blows your hat away. And you sneeze. And I'm sorry, you feel your pants are going to open. What do you do first? So that's the story. It goes, and the Chabin Ruf used to say, I don't know what happened then, but the guy is not there anymore. That's so it's very story, but again, what's behind this mass? Comes the Pinchas Karas and it goes all the way back to Amaloyas and the Toddlers. They explain something. What was Makas Choshech? How could it be the same Choshech? Is for Klal Yisrael or B'Moish Voisam, and the same Choshech is for the Goyim is Choshech, V'Yumesh Choshech, V'Yikumi Ish Mitachto, and etc. comes that told us and all the Chaim and explain, no. The whole concept of the Asa Makkos was to get people out of a production mode and get them into connection mode. But to get into connection mode, just talking about it doesn't work. Let's see it. The Chortkever said, the Bunch, if you're just going to make one makkah, not 7 days, not a whole day, just a half an hour, make a certain makkah that was in the Asa Makkos, I can promise you things will change. We're going around here, we don't see anything. So Kolskim Klal Yisrael Mitzrayim, and you're talking all day and all. I don't know how many times we're already in this shiurim in English, but I'm there over 40 years. You're always talking the same thing. You're not getting anywhere. That means, so Kadosh Baruch Hu, in order to make us a nation, he had to take once and for all and show you that I'm echad, I'm oneness, yuchid. There's no other God that can do this. And the main thing is miyuchad. Miyuchad means, echad, yuchad, and miyuchad means that I can do specially, I can make a day, but it doesn't have to be, it'll be day, it can be night too. That means we find that the water became, this week it was Kriyas Yamsif. That means I can change things according to my plans, even though there's a nature out there to show you that not the accomplishment is what matters here, the connection, your being, you're connected to it. So that's what the Baal Shem Tov calls it, hashgucha lefi advekus. The more you're connected, the more you have hashgucha prutis. The more you're not connected, there's something called hashgucha klulis. It's not pruti. So actually, the person, if he wants the outcome, should be tailor made, as we call it. The more you go to a tailor that does how do you call it? Custom made. So you get custom made. Otherwise, you get what everyone gets. What everyone gets. So it's again a production, and it's not individual. You're just like anyone. So because Baruch Hu made the Asa Makkos, the first day, the first makkah was dumb. Not it was dumb, because Baruch Hu opened up the source from where water comes. The first where it comes from the Bunch. It's Mayim, Eish, Riach, Ufa. When that comes out and it comes all the way down, it was supposed to be dumb. But if you're connected to the Bunch, it's water. So Klal Yisrael, well, they had the water, and the Mitzrayim, the same water, was dumb when Kadosh Baruch Hu took it out so great and you're not ready to accept it. So it looks like down. This is all the way along till we come to Makkos Choshech. Makkos Choshech, there was nothing there, just all. Here it was in water, here it was in Kinim and Svadeya, it was in something outside. But here, there was nothing happened, nothing changed, everything's the same place. It's day, everything. But, as we said before, you have the Esrig in one hand, you have the Liliv in the other hand, you have the Marsa on one arm, the Talis on one arm, and things start going just upside around. That is Makkos Choshech for the Mitzrayim, and that is all La Yehudim. Why? Because if they're ready to accomplish, it's going to be big bezyonis if someone comes through and see what's happening with him. But if he wants to be connected, there's no greater connection than Ametzak Kusikon. So that is the third story. That means as long as I don't change my concept from producing to being, then every failure will get me off track. But when a person is into connecting, then it's, as I said, there was a Chabatzka Chussid, I heard that he was very big in Chassidus, but at home he was sick, his wife was sick, there was nothing to eat. It was terrible. So they asked, Bianca, what's Herzach, what's news? Said the minute it's going to be in Gashmis, like it's going to be in Rochnis, just like it's in Gashmis, everything will be okay. That means I'll be connected without taking anything to myself. That means the whole derech of a bullshit, you don't like that.
I understood the story the other way around. Like the minute it will be as good as my Rochnis, imagine how good my Gashmis will be. I guess that's what I wanted to hear.
Okay, so I know you wanted to hear that. So again, the question is what is good? There's a song going around these days. Tov, od yoter tov, od yoter tov. The whole, you're supposed to say it or not. On one side, the Chazon Ish says the whole after the Shoah, a lot of people went off the derech because they had a lot of kashas. How do you do that to us? That means if you're busy in production, so what are you messing up your own factory? But if you're into connection, so that even gives you more connection. And he says that's a problem that people thought that bituchen is something just like a life insurance. Will take care of everything. You have nothing to worry about. But bituchen, as the Busha says, the bituchen comes when you're betuach, shetalo betuach, when you're sure that you're not sure, then you come to connect even more. But the more you're sure, the less you're connected. You might be accomplishing much. And I asked one day the Busha, so what? But I'm in a surrounding of people that are busy with accomplishing. So you're right. But the whole difference will be when you come to my age, which is the age that I'm now. You'll see the nafkamin is when you can't accomplish anymore, but your mind is working still non-stop. A person who was really only to accomplish and never work with his mind, by the time he stops accomplishing, and he never used his mind to achnur, to shiflis, to midis, to everything, and then they get older and they just you can't stand next to them. If you know what I mean. That means you say the ganze nafkamin is sign of the elter. So I said that there was a story that the Vision Rebbe once came into a shiur and he wasn't feeling good, and they took him on a chair, and the whole people started crying. So he said, "What are you crying?" Thank the Bunchland that my zikna, my old age started in the feet, not on foot, not in the head. That means because at the end of the day, it's the head that stays there till the last minute. I'm a mensch, that's what Busha calls it. Udam. What is Udam? Udam Zoshatevis. Udam, David, and Moshe, and Mashiach. Busha says only 3 people that we find in the Torah that failed, but not only almost failed, really failed, is Udam Rishon, David HaMelech and Bathsheba, and Moshe Rabbeinu with hitting the stone. If you're ready to go through those phases and not get broken, then it's Udam, you're in the connection mode and not in production mode. That means the whole concept, Bokher by Yitzias Mitzrayim helped us change the whole concept. So then we're coming to the story which is bothering me over 40 years, as we said the Baditchev and the Briskov. The Briskov said Baditchev that the seed had kosher matzahs, but I'm not sure that the Baditchev had kosher matzahs. Maral explains, how could it be Klal Yisrael go out of Mitzrayim? How could it be Klal Yisrael going out of Mitzrayim and doesn't come chometz? You won't have matzah bakery these days. You can't go out. You can't go out with those matzahs outside. You can't even move from your spade. You have to move it, and you're going over from one to another. And here they're going for a walk, and kiloi chometz. How did that happen? Says the Maral Pachat von Azach. What is chometz? 18 minutes. You passed 18 minutes, it's chometz, right? You know that? How do you know that?
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
I know what the Satmar used to say. These days, the Oilem is machman not to daven more than 18 minutes. It shouldn't be chometz to daven. Anyways, that means 18 minutes, actually you lose and it becomes chometz. Says the Maral, minutes, zman, is only when you're not connected. But once you're connected, there is no such thing as zman. But here it wasn't connection that you are in a zman and you're connected. Here was HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ani v'lei malach, ani v'lei suraf, ani. That means you were one with me by Yitzias Mitzrayim. When you were one with me, there was no zman, meaning there was no time limit when you can become chometz. Is a mele when we make matzahs, we have a time limit, but if you want to be connected to those matzahs that were in Mitzrayim, you might as well make it fast within the limit of chometz. Then you'll be able to connect with your mind to the matzahs from that there wasn't chometz. But once you're going to go into a time, you're going to mess it up timely. That means you're not living with you're eating the matzahs, and the matzahs won't do the practice that has to bring you to connection on time. So the more you're doing it faster than you can, but not because you want to accomplish, because you want to stay with the Ein Sof at the time, so then you're connected to it. So he explains as a Rashi, it says, Kol machmetzes le'secheli, every mitzvah, Shebuliyotchu says, Al tachmitzena. If you do a mitzvah, don't make it chumazdik. How do you make a mitzvah chumazdik? My father used to say, chamutz, and panim chamutzot, sour face. You do something, don't do it with a sour face. But the Maral says, chumetz means every mitzvah that you're doing it, do it for connection, and mele won't become chumetz. But when you're doing it just because you're signing off a V, that is doing it chumetz. So I explained the story from Baditcher, very simple. But that truth, he was in a mode of accomplishing 18 minutes and the burning and this. He saw a Yid here is busy with that, but he was davening to the Bnei Shalom. And when he was davening to the Bnei Shalom, he asked him, do me a favor, give me why? Because connection is more than accomplishing. It's a matter you might be busy with Biskuf, which is all very much busy. We're called in Halacha, but except for the look at it, that is the whole nafkamin. If you're looking into accomplishment, or the whole chassidus is b'chol dechecha du'ai kol masecha Hashem Shemaim. Then we come back to the first story about the Bekesha. She made a button. But when the Rebbe tells it to take it to the Rebbe, he wasn't looking for the button, he was looking for the connection. She was looking for accomplishment. Connection is when you're connected to someone, you don't only throw the food down on the table, eat. You try to prepare it nicely and make it so for your household. It's something altogether different game. So with that, we finish up. We started asking our first kasha was in Klal Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. Actually, what was the goal? The goal is to get him into the midbar. So why does Baruch after 3 days make a about face? You have to go back, and then you start going again, and the Mitzrayim gets stuck, and at the end of the day you have to split the Yam Suf anyway. So who needed that whole thing? Says, and Bechlal, the Pusik says, you couldn't have taken him straight to Pelishtim. Why are you messing around with him 40 years? But because Baruch Hu took him out of a certain mode. What was Gulas Mitzrayim? Gulas Mitzrayim was, when they came to Mitzrayim, was Yankov Vini came along, the Shiftekah, and who was running the show was Yosef. Yosef is called connection. So it's Tzaddik. It's all about being, not about doing. But once Asher LaYudas Yosef, once you stopped being, you went into doing and accomplishing and buying and selling and all of that, you just forgot the being. So that's actually brought the whole goodness. But it was also on purpose that in order you see yourself, the whole doing brought you into Menta Sharatima. In order to take you out of there and show you that the main thing is being, and once you're being, then you're also doing. But you might be doing and not being. It's called Das Konisu Ma'achusot. If you're being, then you have everything. But if you're Das Chusart, if you're not being, then Ma'akonisu, you might have bought everything, but you didn't buy yourself. Everybody is there, but there's nobody home. That means you can have everything there, and you're not at home. You can be at home and have nothing, and everything is there. So actually, that is the whole. Now, what happens is, after 210 years, when a person is used to a mind setting of production, and you start talking about him, about being, I don't know, but I'm in this business for a nice few years. I myself start every time from noon. So Baruch Hu decided we have to take them out for 40 years into the midbar. There's nothing to do there. Can't run away. It's the chushin v'akram. All you have to be is to be, and the production, I take care of the whole production, I take care of. So Kodesh Baruch Hu said, I can take him right away to Etzisur, I have no problem. But you know what's going to happen? They'll be buying a Fulan, they'll be buying a Fakim and a Bet Shemesh, and if that's not enough, they'll be busy with Bitcoin and whatever, and they're just changing scenery, but they're not themselves. I want every time they have a milchuma that see something goes wrong, you should know that's where you have to fight. What do you have to fight? To leave the production and go over to the being. So that's part of the plan that Kodesh Baruch Hu took you out. But remember, it's not only taking you out physically from there. We have to now go to becoming connected being, not only physically. That means the connection. That's the main thing. Otherwise, we didn't do anything. So then, the first stage was you go back and you see yourself again that you're not out. And I want to teach you, even you're not out. Ma titzak alai. You start screaming and yelling. Don't scream and yelling. But atika talia says that. I need you to come to a certain place which is called atika. What is atika? Ones that say by Shalashid is Keil Mestata, B'Shafra Chevyan, Aseichel Anelam, Mikol Ryan, Michta B'Keser Elyan, Keser Yitni L'chu Hashem. Who's giving the keta to who? So I looked into the Siddur this week. It's just the opposite way around. Every time you come to Seichel Anelam, every time you come, Keil Mestata, B'Shafra Chevyan. Every time you come, not only to the Sib, you come to the Ilis, all the way up. That is Keser. What do I do with that Keser? I have news for you. Keser, as much, you don't understand what it is, and it's hidden, but it's still something against the Rebbeinu Shalom, which is all Ein Sof, infinite. That means even Keser is finite when it comes to Ein Sof. Is a Rebbeinu Shalom, what can we give you? When we come to that place which is called Keser, everything is dilapidated. I don't understand anything. I don't know how these things make sense. But then I have a chance to give Keser to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That when you understand and you say HaKadosh Baruch Hu is helping you, you're giving him. But it's much more when you're at stage of Keser, you have no idea, no understanding, whatever it is. And then you say, Tachlis HaYodiyah, the das she'eni yodeh. Not only the yodeh, I say I understand the Rebbeinu Shalom. When I come to a stage that I don't understand, but I say that don't understanding is still gashmis as long as it's not mavat what I have. That is the main ge'ila that we're waiting for. Questions?
How does it tie in with the Chodesh Hazeh
Yeah,
Lachem?
what I'm saying.
So that is a Chodesh Hazeh Lachem. So thank you for reminding me. So they took out Klal Yisrael from Mitzrayim. The first mitzvah is a Chodesh Hazeh Lachem. Because Baruch Hu says there's another nafkamina between producing and connecting. Connection, there's one place that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mechadish b'tiva b'chol yom tu'im ma'aseh. The electric company gives us the electricity, whoever knows about it, it comes in pulses. It doesn't go your electrician, it doesn't come once, because if it comes once, it's going to burn your whole house. The same thing, the Rebbeinu Shalom, when he gives us the chiyus, the avata machayas kilam, he's giving it in pulses. Pulses, that means, that's why over in the past is not here anymore. Ushid adayin didn't arrive yet. The hoive is keheref ayin. Hoive is something you can't count. All the hoive is between yesterday, this moment, the moment before and the moment there. Can you measure that hoive? You can't even measure it. Why can't you measure it? It's time you think you're not able to measure it. But the vote is more than that. However, the Busha said every time you're connected to that however, you're actually connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Because when you live the past, you're not connected. When you live in the future, you're not connected. When you live in the however, that's where you're connected. But I don't know how do you connect? So that's what the Pusik says. Lekol to production is man. But chayfetz, to connect my will to the will of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, anytime you do that, is ace. That's the right time. That means the hoive is such a big such powerful that Hakadosh Baruch Hu cannot give it to you only for a fraction of a second, because if you give it more than a fraction of a second, it's going to destroy the whole system. And Meila Hoive, you cannot, there's no measurement of Hoive, but Hoive gives you such a big restart, koyach, that you might not be able to measure it, but that's what you're connected to your source. So how do I know if I'm out of in Geila mode or in Gulis mode? The question is, if you see yourself another chasna, another day, another work, another and you went into production mode, and it's sickening. Once a person is in Chiddush is called Machadish B'tiva. It's not the same connection that was yesterday. Today might look the outside might look the same, but in the Pnimius, a person is just like drinking. I say drinking mineral water that was in bottle already 2 years ago. You go to the place where it's still running. It's another mineral water altogether. Not only in the bottle, but in that place itself. Every day it's something else. Clear? Feel better?
Yeah. That's it.
Gilad, how are you? I don't hear
Rebbe,
you.
can
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Rebbe, this whole, when a person
No, that-
connection from, you know, when the Rebbeinu Shalom put someone in a situation where they, being, like you said, Minametza Karatika,
Right.
person, the Kodesh Baruch Hu put a person, situation where they're in connection, production,
Right.
is to another. It's purely, and there's no matara of networks happening.
So
It's purely,
right, we explained in the past. Every time you get on a plane and you have to go leave your family and sit in that small seat and go in a hotel and eat from cans, it ain't such a pleasant thing. I mean, it's pretty hard. And sitting where you're sitting right now at home. But Busha taught us there is hardship and there is suffering. What's the difference between a hardship and suffering? Suffering is, as you said before, why am I doing this? When a person is doing something and it's hard and he doesn't know why he's doing it, and he doesn't see no tachlis, no te'elis, so it's also hard and he's also suffering. But when a person is going into the connection mode, that actually when he's be connected, he'll be besimcha, he'll be connected, he'll be in his kachas, he'll be in connection. It's all the time more alive, but there is no such thing going through without hardships. But if the hardships has a matara, has a cause, that means it's going to bring me somewhere, as we call it in English, tachlis, so then I'm in, even though it's hard. Busha said, there's a pasuk that says, tachlis sinas and aisim. So Busha explained it the other way around. Tachlis, if a person wants to know where his tachlis is in life, sinas and aisim, where you hate it, that's going to get you the connection and you get out of production mode. So actually that helps you get the production mode.
Tachlis is
Understood
not,
me?
Tachlis is not to hate it. Tachlis is just to listen to that message. Right?
Again, the tachlis to listen to that message, not tachlis to hate it. It's just the way around. Some you're in tachlis in the sanais, you're supposed to get far away from. Yoeli, hast verstanden, Yoeli? Wieso Yoeli, ja? Oh. Komm, ein Grüß von deinem Chava, du. Da kämen wir arbeiten, nicht was?
Really will a bruche from the Rebbe for
Ja.
birthday.
For a birthday, for a man birthday.
It's birthday.
It's his birthday too, heißt es. Nein. Ich schaff helfen, an die Heim, auf die Woche, oder geben, das soll's wach. Du gewinn a jeder, a Melitz hier, das geht zum Melitz am pflegt als Unmensch, das auswachsen an alte Ballerweide, das geht als ja Brüche. Schaff helfen, sie sagen, heute lieben Besebe, mein Tatlesung, die scheinen wir an mir, betnai, koyach, moyach, das moyach, in Jerusalem sucht man in Geld euch. Sag Schäfer, Buchen hat Sluchen, ich koch ja nicht. Chaul Zip, ist toll. Ja. Well, that's, yeah, how do you go in there to see the people?
So maybe the Kahila.
Yeah, ich koch, yeah, up to the left side. Yeah, yeah.
So having a